This is Facets of Connection, where we are transforming relationships within an evolving world. Brought to you by Relational Life Foundation and hosted by me, Sarah Melissa Oswald. This exclusive podcast series delves into the heart of human connection, exploring how we learn, love, and collaborate within a dynamic society. We'll uncover the power of respectful relationships and their essential role in the human experience. I invite you to embark on a journey with me to create a more connected, empathic world for future generations. An expert professional organizer and personal stylist, Kathi Burns, is here today to help us become more organized and energized. She is a best-selling author, board-certified professional organizer, and personal stylist. Kathi is nationally recognized for her simple organizing and style solutions, and featured on programs like Good Morning America as a successful woman-owned business. Her straightforward advice is frequently published in Martha Stewart Living, Better Homes and Gardens, Entrepreneur, Oprah Magazine, and more. I am grateful to have her on today's episode, and I think you'll have fun listening to our conversation. And with that, here we go. Hey, well, hello, Kathi. Thanks for joining me on Facets of Connection.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. We're going to have a great conversation.
We are. Is there anything more that you would want to add to introduce yourself?
Really, my whole goal in life is to help people make change. And I work doing that in the least scary way by changing their physical or their digital environment. Right. It's not headspace, although it comes around to headspace, but it's really like making easy changes on their external environment. That's how I best help people shift. And because I know that change is scary and most people are afraid of change. So, really, all I do with my modalities is help people embrace change with less fear.
Wow. So it's almost like mental health support.
It is. It is.
Yeah, it is. And the reason I thought you would be a good guest for Facets of Connection is that I always think about relationships in terms of systems, and our built environment is part of our system. It's part of our living system that we are in, right? It's part of our biosphere. And so being in relationship in a respectful, healthy way with our built environment and our systems, our organizational systems, seems like a relationship worth mastering.
Absolutely, it is. And a lot of people think about relationships just with like husband, wife, spouse, family, or whatever, but they don't think of it as like, oh, how's my computer treating me today? Or how am I treating my computer? Or
Uh-huh.
are we fighting? Are we at an impasse? I know I've been there, done that, right? And as entrepreneurs, I always think about squirrels, and I think about squirrels because I don't know, I love watching squirrels, but did you know that squirrels lose 42% of the nuts that they bury? And
No, I didn't.
I see them digging, and I'm like, it's right there, dude. It's right there. I see them. They're in the same flower, but they can't find the nut. And this is what we do as entrepreneurs. We jump from branch to branch, and having a little bit of ADD, same thing, just from branch to branch. We forget what we did, what was left half baked, what's working, what's not working. Did we follow through and finish it? And then what happens is we have all these systems in the background of our life that are fighting each other, and we don't even know it. We don't know it because we jumped to another branch and forgot about it.
Wow. I love this analogy. I love too that your mission, right? So your mission says that it's you empower people to master their built organizational environments to reduce overwhelm and unlock their true passions.
Mm-hmm.
And to
Yes,
me, that's about relationship with self too.
absolutely. Yes, yes.
So say more. How do you help people zoom out and see, oh my gosh, I have all these things going on and they're not really supporting me. How do I streamline? That feels like a big ask sometimes, right? That can be overwhelming to think about. So how do you help people?
Yeah, and it sounds like a big question for me as well. So, the whole reason that people hire specialists like pro organizers or mental health therapists or relationship coaches, right, is because they can't see what we can see easily because they're in that forest in the trees. They can only see the trees. They don't even know how big the forest is or what it is. So, all I really do is find out try to find out what's working in their life and why it's working in their life. And from there, I can figure out what's not working in their life and go in and do repair to the system that happens to be broken. So I always start with what's really working and why is it working and why do you like it? Like, why does that work for you? And that it's to date myself, it's like the Columbo approach. You go in and you're kind of figuring out the one thing to figure out the broken part. And it's a
How
lot
does
easier
asking about what's working help you figure out what's not working?
because then I know what systems are actually there that in place that are effective. And then the most important thing is, why does that work for you? Well, it's because I do this and I do that. And I'm like, then whenever we build the new system, it's going to do this and do that because that's what works for them. Right. So
Perfect.
that's what I love about my job, Sarah. I've been doing this 20 years. I am board certified as an organizer and a stylist. But the reason that I ask that is because every single client is different. And what keeps me juiced about my career, 20 years, because that's a long time for me, I've had 7 careers, is that every single client is different. And every single client needs a different modality. They need a different way to do things. They need a different system than the other people. And that, so for me, my job is really about creativity and creating the system. My code of ethics as a board certified pro organizer is I have to transfer skills. If I don't transfer skills, I pretty much flunked my job, right? I've
Hmm.
broken my code. And so, in order to transfer skills, though, I have to know the person and how they think and what's going to work for them and what's going to be sustainable. Therefore, it comes into a lot of creative process for me, which makes me happy and fulfilled.
I love it. So you're really getting into the mindset of who the client is. It's not a one size fits all
Mm,
solution. You're getting into their worldview and understanding what works for them. And
yeah,
what I really love about what you were saying, that you ask them what already works, is because I use similar questions in my coaching practice
I
when I'm
think
sitting in front of an individual or a couple. And I always start our sessions with, tell me what is already thriving in your relationship,
mhm.
because what we place our attention on tends to grow. So
Yes.
I use appreciative inquiry for slightly different reasons than you do. I think it actually creates a nice buffer of support throughout the session to help them remember why they're there in the first place. But for you, it really gets you into the mind space that
Yeah,
your
yeah,
client is in.
yeah. How do
Brilliant.
they, well, like when I work with people one on one in their environment, I'm like, do not organize for the organizer because I want to see where things have landed. I want to see where things have fallen. I want to see how you use your space
Huh.
because I'm going to use the same structure for you. I'm not going to change completely everything, right? It's going to be how does it work? Obviously, we're creatures of habit. So if we can reinforce habits based on the habits that they already have, it's helpful.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. Less scary.
Yeah,
Again,
absolutely.
back to changing with less fear. I find that if people can embrace change in maybe their computer system or embrace change in their database or embrace change in these small little things, if they become masters at change. And then when the big stuff hits them, they're much easier to change for the big life scenarios. Because as you know, changing is letting go, right? Change is the process of letting go. And most of our letting go muscles are atrophied. And my clients will
Mm,
start out like this: I can't let go, can't let go. And then they let go, and then they let go, and then they're like, oh, okay, hey, that feels really good. Bring it
yeah,
on.
you're creating space.
Right.
Not just physical space, right? I can imagine, like, right now I'm in the middle of a big move. I could be letting go of some physical items to create space, but what I'm thinking more of is that you and I were just talking before we started recording about letting go of what is maybe seems like a system that you've been tied to for so long. But if you let it go, then you can create space for something new to emerge.
Yes. And half the time, the universe kicks us in the butt and makes us let go. And
Yep.
that's what's happening with both of us right now. Is that, we're like being kicked, we're being egged on, let it go,
Mhm.
let it go, let it go. And that does, provide space for growth. And I have two agencies. My first agency is Add Space to Your Life. That's my original agency consultancy that I started back in whatever 2003. And quite honestly, this is an interesting thing too that I think you'll like being what you do is in COVID, there was a big shift, right? The whole world shifted. And I was an in-home, in corporate, in office space organizer in person. And when
Uh-huh.
COVID hit, obviously I am not going to be doing that. Even if they wanted me there, I'm like, no. So there's a big shift. So I became a little bit bummed out and I re-energized myself by rebranding and starting a new consultancy called Organized and Energized for
I
me.
love it.
That's what it was for me, right? And so
Mhm.
I still have both consultancies and they both do similar things.
Hmm.
Organize and Energize is now more on the small business entrepreneurial track. Like, women entrepreneurs are my jam. I love helping women create systems for success to support them in their business because I've been a serial entrepreneur pretty much my whole life. And I know that if you don't have simple systems to sustain you and support you, that you lose your mojo. You lose like, why did I even start this business? Like, why am I even doing this? Right? Because we're so stuck in the muck of our stuff, which is my first book, How to Master Your Muck, stuck in the muck of our stuff that we lose our mojo. And that's actually what happened to me during COVID. I lost my mojo. So I just rebranded, let some stuff go, and now focusing mainly on women entrepreneurial business owners. I love them because that's what I've been forever. So I get them too. I get it.
What type of organization do you help them with?
Simple systems for their business.
Okay.
So I have a training coming up on September 16th. It's called How to Organize Your Business with Using One Simple Tool.
Huh.
And I won't tell you what the tool is, but it's simple and it's so basic but it does everything. Like it does everything that you need to run a business all in one shop, so to speak, even though I'm not selling software or anything like that. Uh,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I was curious.
no software to be bought and nothing.
Hmm.
I'm not selling a platform, but I am teaching people how to use this system that integrates everything effortlessly into their business. Wouldn't you love to have you get an email and you could turn it into a task real quick? Wouldn't you love that task to be put into a calendar event and have all the notes for that event in there? Wouldn't it be nice to have all that together?
Of course.
Um, yeah, a lot of people I talk to a lot of people who have overflowing inboxes, right? And if you have over a couple hundred or 1,000 or whatever, you have 10,000 emails in your inbox, you're using it as a task list. You're not using it as a communication device. And so oftentimes we're misusing our technology that's right at our fingertips
Huh.
just because we don't know what we don't know. So that's what I'm going to be talking about on the 16th.
Nice. And this is for a launch that you're doing for a program that you're beginning.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to be doing a training on this, a 5-week training to show you exactly how to implement and use what I'm talking about on the 16th to make your life more simple as a business owner. And actually, you don't even have to be a business owner. I have some retirees that are already signed up for it. That's going to help them also navigate their life. Because what's so funny, and you probably know this, all the retirees I met are busier than they've ever been. They're always like, I don't have any time for anything. It's like, wow. I guess I can look forward to that if I ever retire. I don't really want to ever retire, but
I don't either. I love what I
yeah,
do.
exactly. Yeah, I don't plan on retiring, but it's funny because ironically they don't have any time. So I'm going to show them how to get more time back
Huh.
in their day through organizing with using one simple system.
So it doesn't have, I mean, I imagine that this is not just for entrepreneurs at all, but for anyone who feels overwhelmed by their daily lives.
It's a life hack. Yeah, it's a life.
Mhm.
How do you control your schedule? How do you deal with your inbox? We all have inbox issues. How do you make sure you have the contacts that you need to call with their phone number and you can find them? How do you create a calendar event that has the address and has the phone number and all the people that you need to go, so you can just put on the map and go there? All of that stuff can be done so easily and effectively if you know how to do it, which is why I'm taking 5 weeks to explain, okay, step one, this is what you're going to do. Step two, this is what you're going to do. By the end, everything's kind of solid and put together for each person, that now they're going to feel like they're masters of their calendar, their schedule, their inbox, their contacts. They're going to have a tighter rein on their life to be able to get stuff done.
Is it an AI tool?
No, it is not.
It is not. Interesting. How would you, I'm listening to you and I'm like, yeah, I already do all that. I'm pretty on top of my organizational game, I think. But I know that there's always more to learn. So what would you say to someone like me who is like, I don't really need to go to your webinar because I already do that? How are you going to make it easier for me?
You think you do. So just like any technology, we use only 20% of what's available for us. We think we know how to do this, but we don't know what we don't know. And the training actually shows us what we don't know, what is possible, that with a few tweaks, we can make it better, faster, quicker, easier. Right. So I'm constantly learning. I mean, I'm in training all the time. I'm never not in training. Wow. And I think that masters do that. Masters hire masters and masters train continually because we have this craving, a desire to learn, right? And we don't know what we don't know. So throughout the class, there's going to be like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could do that. And then you implement a few small tweaks and boom, you've already saved. The average entrepreneur, here's a stat that you're going to love, that I actually don't love, but the average entrepreneur wastes 4 hours a week trying to find documents that they own, but they don't know where they went.
I've heard that. I can't understand how that's possible.
They will put it on a hard drive. They'll put it in a cloud. They'll put it on their desktop. They'll put it all different random places, depending on what happened that day. They won't name it properly, so it's not easily searchable or findable. The names are all over the place. And I used to be a culprit at this big time, where I would name things not the same every time, and then I couldn't find stuff. So having a nomenclature, and I teach that in one of the weeks, having a nomenclature that helps you find your files quickly, effortlessly, all in one place, saves you boatloads of time, because 4 hours a week is a month a year, almost a month a year. You want to be able to find things quickly, effortlessly, with low stress. You want to be professional. When you can't find things and people are waiting, then you're not as professional as you could be. And maybe you are double booking appointments because your calendar is a little bit screwed up or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all these things happen to us as business owners.
They do. They do. The topic that this podcast, Facets of Connection, is all about creating healthy, respectful relationship and how that's essential to everything we do as human beings. And you were like, boom, I totally fit this category. Tell me what it was, because I didn't get your languaging right in my write-up. And I want to be sure that I understand the link that you see. Tell me more.
Okay. What I know to be true is that when you're in overwhelm and you're exhausted and you're in fear of missing things or whatever, your relationships fail. I remember distinctly, I remember this lady. She was a mom, busy mom of twins, and I helped her organize her space. And this is dating me, but I remember her saying, oh my gosh, now I can shoot pictures of my kids right now because I know where my camera and my batteries are, and I can shoot those pictures. So now she is able to freeze frame her children growing up from one little organizing hack of knowing where a camera is and that it's charged, and know where her batteries are in case it isn't. I mean, things like that, like relationship building, her memories that she'll have for her kids way after she's gone, her kids are going to have those photos now. So that's a relationship building thing. I also know that the number one argument that I see between people that live together, be it spouses or partners or whatever, the number one argument is the kitchen counter and paperwork and papers being all over the place. They argue about that continually. And One spouse is saying, I don't know why all this stuff is here, why you can't handle it. The other one's going like, why am I supposed to handle it? I don't know what to do with it either. And it just piles up and there's an argument. So those are just two things I think of very quickly for relationships. When you're organized, there's less friction in your life, which means there's less friction in the other person's life.
Yeah, that's it. And how two people can become organized together is the next evolution of that. I'm curious how your work could overlap with my work with couples and how we can help them create more collaborative systems. Just
Yeah.
a side note.
A lot of therapists will refer their people to me and then I refer them back.
Neat.
You
I
know?
really like that.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
You're pointing to places where your relationships are improved by being more organized. Got it. But I also think that we should spend a little time focused on that relationship with our built environment.
Oh, and ourselves.
Well, yes, because it impacts the relationship we have with ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I imagine if you're organized, it can bring you out of shame.
Yes.
What I make up is that people who struggle with organization might have some shame around it, and it's actually hard to look at, which means it piles up and becomes more disorganized. What do you
Right.
think?
Oh, absolutely. That is so very true. I think about piles. So any pile, and it could be a tech pile, it could be whatever, an inbox pile, it could be a pile of clothes. Any pile is a result of one of three things. Okay. They're either unsure what to do about it, uncertain what to do about it, indecision, or they're procrastinating. Okay. They know what they should be doing, but they're not doing it, or they're just avoiding it, throwing it in a closet, shutting the door. Those are typically the three things that happen with and why there's a pile. And let me tell you, piles are mysterious beings. They will multiply on their own with zero effort. I mean, you have two shoes or two shirts on top of each other, you come back and there's going to be another one. It's just they're little magical beings. So I always say, guard your life, guard your environment like it is your life, because it is. And piles are mysterious like that. So you're either indecisive, avoiding, or procrastinating. That's the only reason that you're sitting there with a pile of anything, actually, anything.
Wow. I love this. Go on.
So a pile is a symbol of things left undone, right? Now, as women, we remember all the stuff that's not done. Boy, do we ever, right? And then it turns into a sleep factor. So many of my clients, when they first come to me, are unable to sleep properly during the night because they're laying in bed and they're looking at the ceiling and they're doing their list of all the stuff that they want to do, that they have to do, that they don't want to forget that they have to do. And they stay up all night worrying in fear that they're going to drop the ball and miss something that's very important. So a pile is everything that's not done. There's nothing done about a pile. A pile is a pile. It's a symbol. And it puts you into a tailspin if you have too many of them, if you have too many things that are half baked, too many things that are half done, too many projects that are not going anywhere, then you go into overwhelm and stress. And that doesn't help relationships at all with anyone in your environment. Doesn't help at all. In fact, it hurts everyone in your environment because you're oftentimes sleep deprived, in fear, in worry, in shame, right? Why can't I handle this? Why can't I deal with this? Right? I hear that all the time. Why can't? Well, you know what? There's a lot of people can't deal with it, but we start with the basics, right? One simple system for each of those things to try to get it together. And the simple system is built on how they are, how they think, right? Because it has to be sustainable. It's got to be sustainable or I've flunked. I haven't held up my code of ethics.
So are there different types of disorganization or different types of brains that operate under a certain system best? Meaning, when you meet someone, a potential client, can you say, oh, they're type A or type B or type C, and now I know what to do with them?
No, because we're all a mix. We're all a
We're
hot.
all a
It could
mix.
be A and
Everyone's
B
unique.
and part of B, and yeah, that we're
Oh,
so mixed up. I mean, we're not one thing. Any of us are, thank God, otherwise it'd be really boring. But we're all parts of all of that.
I agree.
So that's why we go back to what we said at the beginning. What's working for you? Why do you like it? Why is it working for you? And then I get a clue on how they are and who they are and how they think. Because we're all a mix. I mean, you can tell a type A from a zillion miles away, but that type A can easily change it to a C. You just can. So I try not to label anybody, but as part of my code of ethics, I don't work with hoarders. That's a completely different certification. I have colleagues that thrive on working with hoarders, but hoarding is a disease, and I'm not in the disease industry. They are. The pro organizers that have the hoarder certification, they're usually ex-nurses, therapists, and that kind of thing who've gone into this field. And so I will refer them on to those. So that's really the only distinguishing mark that I see is it something that can be helped, or is it something that needs other intervention to have it be helped?
Is this a mental health issue?
Yeah.
Good question. I
Right.
ask the same question when I'm meeting potential clients.
Yeah, of course. You need to know, is this something that I can help with? I want all of my clients to graduate. I seriously want them to graduate with flying colors and move on and refer me to somebody else who they know that might need help. I don't want to keep them around forever, because the whole idea is let's regain our life and regain our confidence and regain our mojo. And that's what happens when you're in overwhelm, disarray. It doesn't help your relationship. And another thing I was thinking earlier when we were talking, Sarah, about relationship to self, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people, and since I'm specializing in women a lot now, most women don't give themselves the time and the grace to work on their own stuff. They fix everybody else's stuff but their own. So oftentimes when I'm working in time management, I'm like, let's set aside some time for you, sometime during each day that's going to be for you and you alone.
So key. I think I tend to do that pretty well.
Good.
Yeah. This past week has been really hard, and I've made sure to take space to just be in my experience and not have to just plow through it, but to actually feel my feelings. And, I even took up doodling and drawing this week.
Ooh.
I've never done that before. I like to be productive at all times. So it's always been a blocker for me to sit down and just draw, but it's been so good.
I've been coloring. I like using coloring books because it's less thought, more pretty.
I'm looking through my drawings right now. They're not
My
here.
coloring books. I'm not a great drawer or a sketcher. It's like too much
Same.
for me to try to do it. But coloring in between the lines, piece of cake, and it turns out just beautiful anyhow. And then you have a work of art. You're like, oh, look what I did.
It feels good. It feels really good to not be productive sometimes too.
It's very important, actually. It's very important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For individuals to take space away from whatever their life is demanding of them.
Yeah, I can't
And
tell you
that could be with, stepping away from the organizational systems for a few minutes, or stepping away from my partner who I just can't seem to get it right with. Let me take some space to go breathe and take a walk, or figure out what I'm feeling. And then I can come back to these things with more resources, more resiliency.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a real overlap here. So relationship to self.
Mm-hmm.
This podcast may bring up complex emotional reactions in you. This is not a replacement for personal support with someone trained to guide you through deeper exploration. Relational Life Foundation offers an incredible program that makes personal therapy services affordable to everyone. You deserve to know about this opportunity to experience private relational life therapy at a sliding scale rate. The foundation will personally match you with an RLT practitioner in training who aligns with your particular background and preferences. You'll even receive a free 15-minute consultation to ensure that it's the right fit before you commit. I hope you'll take this next step toward creating meaningful change in your relationships. Learn more at relationallifefoundation.org or click the link in our show notes. And now, back to our program. As you're speaking about these organizational systems, I can't help but think about physical systems because I'm in the process of moving. And I'm thinking about how to create a new space that fits my life in a strategic way. What would you say to someone who's looking at their physical system, right? That's a little bit different than your email inbox.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, number one, I really highly recommend that you downsize and get rid of stuff, get rid of something, add space. Because number one, moving is expensive and it's time consuming. And the more things you have, the more things you have to box, which means more things you unbox. When you get into a new home and you pull out that old crusty toaster, it doesn't really fit in your new life, right? And you're thinking, ooh, and on top of that, everything looks much dirtier when you get to a new house from your old house. Everything just looks so much dirtier. So it's a good time to really let go of all the stuff that you no longer use, need, or love. Okay. If you don't use it, ditch it. If you don't need it, get rid of it. If you don't love it, get rid of it. It needs to be one of those three things. And that you're going to have a lighter load and you're going to move into your new environment. I don't care if you're upsizing twice as big as where you are. It doesn't even matter. Just let go of the stuff that you don't use, need, or love. And then when you get into your new space, it's much easier to thrive and it's much easier to figure out, oh, what do I need for my new life, right? What you're going to have room to put new stuff in that works for you. And it's just a release process. So everybody that's moving or remodeling, especially remodeling, purge all the old stuff. Just don't box it up and then bring it back out again and stick it in the new kitchen. Similar thing with moving. You want to let go of the fluff, stuff that you don't use, need, or love. And so go through that process. I would grab some friends and just start packing and start really looking at each item before you put it into a box.
Well, it's taking up a lot of brain space for me to imagine my new office and think about all the things I have in here and wanting to I like to think about spaces and spatial arrangements. And so I ruminate on these things because I love it. It feels good, but it also eats up a lot of mental space for me.
Zones. Let's talk zones, girl.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me about zones. What's that?
So every space in your life should have zones within it. So for your new home office, you want everything to be set up so that you don't have to get up to leave to do something. Okay. So you want your file cabinet right there. If you're going to need files because you bought a house, you're going to have the mortgage papers alone, right? Maybe not. It's on a disc.
Everything's virtual these days, huh?
Okay. So no filing cabinet, but are you going to print anything?
Yes, we have a printer.
Okay. So by the printer, you're going to have your paper right underneath the printer. Okay. But you want to have drawers in your desk. You want to have everything set up right there because the average entrepreneur that gets up in a home office to go get something like a Rima paper or a stapler, staples for their stapler, how long do you think they're gone?
Much longer because they're going to put a load of laundry in and maybe do some dishes
18 minutes.
18 minutes. You lose a lot of time there. Okay.
Right. So you don't want to ever have to get up and leave your office to go get something.
Brilliant.
You want all your tools to be right there within arm's reach, right?
That is so important. I bet you that's the number one hack that I'll take away from this call.
Oh, good. And then you want to go vertical. So like take, for instance, bookshelves. You want to use as much of your vertical space as you possibly can. A lot of people lose all the whole top of their office is like naked. They're not using it for anything. So tall vertical bookshelves and using your vertical space is very important. It will add space in your regular environment around you. So have a desk with drawers. You want to have your notepad, your pen, your stapler, your tape, all that good stuff, like right there. Hopefully that helps. And get yourself a good chair.
That I could use.
Yeah. Good chair is very important, especially if you're sitting around all day. But really just move forward. Let go of as much stuff as you can let go of. Move forward, embrace change, learn to like change because change happens all the time anyhow. So you might as well become a pro at it.
One of the things that we had discussed talking about is this resistance to change and how incremental improvements can reinforce new positive habits. And I was thinking about how resistance to change is such a human quality, and how in my work with couples or individuals, I'm addressing that as well. And I often tie in family of origin and patterns that they've just been living out over and over because they're resistant to change. And I help them see how their patterns aren't working for them. And it sounds like you do something really similar. How do you work with people who are resistant to change?
I have them change one small thing at a time. So, one of my favorite quotes from me is one small, insignificant change leads to larger than life results. There's a ripple effect. Every change you make is a ripple effect on your life that gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So, do what you can, start where you can. It doesn't even matter where you start, quite honestly, when it comes to getting organized or creating systems. Just start somewhere. Start with the least scary thing you can think of. And that's not your junk drawer, by the way. It could be your sock drawer, but start with a small space. Then you'll feel accomplished and you'll have a ripple effect into other areas. It's inevitable. It's what happens. So start small, be brave. I find it so interesting when you were saying we're so resistant to change and we don't want to change, but yet change is constant. Change is happening all the time in our life, no matter what. Like there's nothing we can do about it, but we're so much creatures of habit that we just prefer to keep our habits and not spend the time to change them towards the betterment for our life. And how you do it is you just start small. Start small. One simple, small little thing will give you the confidence to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And my science would say, I can't let go. I can't. And at the end, they're like, I'm letting go of all that stuff. Because you realize how good it feels. You feel that juice and that inspiration from having more space from that little thing that you did, that you're going to be inspired to do more.
And a proven success in something. Yeah. Start with the sock drawer. I can do this. I have success here. Then
Yes,
I want to feel that success in a bigger area of my life.
absolutely. Yep,
Neat.
that's what it's all about. We're all kind of in the same boat. We're all creatures of habit. We're all a little bit wary of things that change, so we don't know what's going to happen. But, embrace the unknown. And that's the fun for me, is going into that unknown. My goal is to do one new thing every day. It's fun. It's fun
Mhm.
just to try new things. For
Mhm.
me, I get great joy out of it.
I do too. Coloring flowers this past week has been new to me. And I'm like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't know I could do this. It feels good to be successful at something, right? Just like the sock drawer. But also, there's a learning curve that's really hard to get through sometimes. When
Mhm.
we're learning new things,
Mhm.
that period of not being good at something is probably one of humans' biggest challenges. Right? I see that with my 5-year-old all the time. It's hard when you're just not so good at something yet. It doesn't feel good.
That
But
is why we hire people to teach us what we don't know.
that's right.
That's why one of my chapters in my book is Masters Hire Masters. That's what we do.
Mm,
Be masterful. We hire people to do things that we cannot do. And it jumps the learning curve and it makes us less uncomfortable because we can jump up to a next level with less effort than if we were trying to do it all on our own. Why would we? Why would we try to figure it all out on our own? Why
hire
wouldn't
someone
we
else
do
who already knows how to do it perfectly. It actually reminds me of my ideas around community and how we truly need one another. We are not meant to be individuals isolated on this planet. We have each other. So it's important that we use our community around us as a resource. If my light dims out, I have to lean over to another one to relight my pilot light.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that we can learn from one another, if someone else is an expert in something, you don't have to figure it out all on your own. Hire
No,
the expert.
yeah, we do the same thing in different modalities. That's all. We just help people figure out their relationship to stuff and to people, right?
hmm It's all about relationship. Everything is, actually. Everything on this planet is relationship. A teacher of mine would say, relationship is all there is. And perhaps that's true at every level of scale.
And to lead back into what you do, I think a big challenge where things go awry is lack of communication. And I'm positive that you help people with communication. And the biggest downfalls, I think, of corporate or partners or business associates is lack of communication. Communication was not done effectively. And now I'm sure that's part of your expertise.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of the time couples will say that that's what they're looking for support with, but often they don't have the language to describe what the problems are. But everyone knows they need help with communication. Yes.
Yeah, we all do. We all do.
We all do. Yeah.
It is.
Anything else that you would want to let our audience know about the work you do, or any last tips that you want to leave them?
Well, for those of you who want to be more productive, I do have a free download for everybody. I call it the 6 steps for ultimate productivity. I know that no one's going to do all 6, but I put my 6 favorite productivity hacks in this document. And I encourage you to download it and implement one. See what happens when you just implement your favorite one. Implement something to become more productive, and you'll see your life will get easier for yourself. So that's free for everybody. The training on September 16th is free for everybody as well. Then there's strings attached. There'll be links in the show notes for both of those. And I'd love you to download the productivity hacks and then also show up to simplify your life in one simple system on September 16th.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
It's been fun. Thanks, Sarah. I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate being able to talk to your audience. And if there's anything that anybody needs out there, just feel free to reach out.
Thanks, Kathi. Thanks for listening to this episode of Facets of Connection. This show is brought to you by Relational Life Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to ending the chronic epidemic of loneliness by fostering community and transforming relationships. Its mission is focused on building stronger, more connected communities through research on relational health and through accessible therapeutic services and education. If you'd like to support this work, visit relationallifefoundation.org. Your generosity helps us make relational support available and accessible to more communities. On another note, I'd love to hear from you. Whether you've taken a workshop through Relational Life Foundation, if you're working with an RLT therapist, or simply if you have a guest or a topic to recommend for a future episode of Facets of Connection. I want to know, what's resonating with you? What's shifting? Or what are you still sitting with? Send me a quick voice memo or an email to Sarah with an H at facetsofconnection.com. Your story might even be featured in a future episode. I look forward to hearing from you. Facets of Connection is created by me, Sarah Melissa Oswald. Our executive producer is Carrie Allison Maloney, and our digital producer is Kim Novak. Follow us here on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts. Thank you in advance for your support. See you soon.